Hello everybody and welcome to Parks Bros. It's Drew here, and we have quite the lengthy update for West Coast Racers, as well as other things at Six Flags Magic Mountain coming your way, thanks to our great friend John. You can check out his Instagram down in the description below if you'd like. But there are tons of things happening at the park, specifically with West Coast Racers, as well as the surrounding area called the Underground. And to start off, we're actually not going to start on that side of the park. We're going to go over to DC Universe and see that Green Lantern First Flight is in the beginnings of disassembly, as it will be shipped off to somewhere else. The trains, as well as some pieces of station track, I believe, have already been shipped off on truck beds. So if you wanted to get back on Green Lantern First Flight, don't expect it to be at Magic Mountain anytime soon. But since it's not a complete demolition, I'm sure they are bringing this to a different park potentially, so don't be too surprised if you see a Zack spin showing up for the announcements this coming Thursday. But moving on from Green Lantern First Flight, we've got a pretty much a mega update, I'd like to say. This update is from many days of visits last week while I was over in Ohio, so I wasn't able to edit it while I was over there because I was enjoying the hot and humid weather. But as you can see, some more pieces of track have successfully gone in for West Coast Racers, and everything is looking fantastic. We are actually, by the end of this update, you'll see how little track we actually have left to be put in, which is fantastic news all around. But you can see here in some shots that there are only a good 3 or 4 pieces missing, at least from these, and later on you'll see a change in that as well, which is quite exciting, I would like to say. But there's a lot of exciting things happening besides the track almost being done, and that is the fact that they have these interesting boxes that almost look like lockers that are being placed right next to the first and third launches of the ride. Now, I'm unsure what these are, but I have been theorizing a little bit with some people, and we think it might potentially be where some power is stored or something along those lines, but it is going to be next to the extended queue line and the first and third launches, so it's kind of in between those. So it definitely couldn't be lockers, at least that I could think. And also, they're not the standard blue that lockers normally come in for amusement parks. We'll just have to wait and see for more on that eventually. But besides that, most of the electrical is done for the first and third launches. You can see them finalizing things underneath the launches, which is fantastic news, meaning they're just getting closer and closer to actually being ready to send a train around that track, and might as well have the electromagnets ready to go once they put a train on the track, so we can get testing as soon as possible, which is very exciting news. But talking about that, the station has yet to go vertical, but there has been some boring done, as well as some rebar placement in those holes, and we'll get to that a little later on in the video as well. That actually ended up happening a couple days after these particular shots were taken. But another big thing is that they actually have started working on the bathrooms, and these new bathrooms are going to be built from the ground up, which is fantastic, and I can't wait to go use them myself, because something that a lot of people don't bring up about parks is their bathrooms, unless they're bad. So it'll be great to have another bathroom, and a brand new and great looking one at that. And moving on to a little later in the week, you can actually see an installation of one of the pieces of white track going in for the Dueling corkscrews section, and this would bring us into only 3 pieces of track being needed to complete the main circuit. Now, there are actually 2 other pieces of track that have yet to go in, but those are waiting for the station to go vertical, as they are the last pieces of the brake run going in. So hopefully we'll be seeing those go up in the next couple days. But at the very end of this video, we have something very exciting that just happened 5 minutes before I started recording this audio, and it's super exciting to see. And it's something that I wasn't expecting for today. I was expecting another piece to go in, but that's right, one of the pieces is finished, but we'll wait to see that until a little later in this video. But the track installation is quite crazy, considering this one piece of track had 4 separate connectors on it, which in itself is quite amazing, I would say. The fact that it has to connect to 4 different supports is crazy, but that's just how the Spaghetti Bowl section is going to be. Every piece of track is connected to so many different pieces all over the place, and that's why it was one of the most difficult things to produce for this coaster. So difficult, in fact, that they actually had to build it first in China before disassembling it and then shipping it off to make sure everything fit correctly. It is one of the most complicated pieces of support work that has ever been put on a coaster, and I find that incredible that it's happening. And that it is pretty much done at this point. I mean, very close to at least. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering about the coaster that's right next door, and that is Apocalypse, the wooden coaster done by GCI. And that is very near to completion. We're pretty sure we did spot some workers up there onto the track for a little while, and I think there was about 4 of them. But they were doing some inspection work and talking things out. So hopefully we will see some testing potentially from Apocalypse within the next couple weeks. And I really can't wait to get back on it. It is one of my favorite wooden coasters for sure. And it should be amazingly smooth once it opens, considering the new retracking on it. And I'm also interested to see if they've done any new theming elements potentially to fit into the land a little more. I'm not entirely sure on that as of yet, but I think it would be kind of cool just to tie it into the land just a little bit. And just to let you know, when John ended up driving by the storage lot where they've been keeping the track and supports, all of the supports have been brought over to the construction site itself, and only about 3 pieces of track were waiting. One of them already loaded onto a truck bed, and that one we'll get to a little later on in this video, which is quite exciting. Now, moving on to another couple days later, you can see that they are so incredibly close to finishing the yellow inversion and pretty close to finishing the white inversion. Those dueling inversions are potentially going to be some of the best parts of this ride. And we are so incredibly close to a topping off of the ride, and I'm so excited to see that inversion almost being finished, as well as the white inversion being quite close also. But you can count them on your fingers right now, one hand. There are 5 pieces of track yet to be installed, 3 of them for the inversions and 2 for the brake run. So it's very exciting to see everything that's going on. Here you can also see some rebar work going on for the station foundation. So what they've done is some boring next to the station, which is awesome news, and then put the rebar cylinders into those holes, and we'll be filling them up in the next couple days with concrete to get the station ready to go completely vertical, which is amazing news, meaning we're just closer and closer to that opening day, which we do not know as of yet, but I'm interested to see if we will find out the opening day potentially in the new for 2020 announcements. It would be a nice kicker to throw that in there, honestly. But if they don't, I'm sure we'll end up finding out an opening date within the next couple weeks. But a lot more work is being done around the land, and it is amazing to see the progress they've been putting out within the last week. There were upwards of 60 people working on the site at one time, at least as John stated to me, which is absolutely incredible to think about. So many people working on one specific land at one time. But everything is looking so incredibly good right now, and it's making me ecstatic to see everything in the next couple weeks. But another big thing that's going on besides the boring as well as the new holes being drilled is it looks to be the preparation for some new pavement, but I'm not entirely sure on that. They did do some digging in where the pavement for the main pathway would be, so we'll see what ends up happening with that. I'm not entirely sure about that, but I just thought I'd mention it a little bit. But another thing that they are working on right now is the fact that there will be a new fence going up along the West Coast Racers Preview Center, and that will go over to Jetstream's exit. So you will not be able to enter the land through that way, which I think is totally justified. There's really not a great view from there either, just the brake runs, and I don't think that's even tall enough for a reasonable pathway or wide enough, in all honesty. And also, you wouldn't get the amazing view of walking through the main path underneath a graffiti covered bridge, which is going to look fantastic. So I think it's a good call to fence that area off for sure, and it'll make the experience really cool walking through for the first time. But here's our last shot of some boring going on. But right after this, I want to show you something that's very, very exciting. And this is thanks to our great friend Mario at Mostly Coasters. Check out his channel. I'll put a link in right now. He's going to have tons of new content from our trip that we took together to Ohio and Pennsylvania coming out soon. But as of right now, the white side inversion for the Dueling corkscrews is officially topped off. So we are only 3 pieces of track away from this layout being completed, and I am over the moon about it. I am actually smiling from ear to ear right now, the fact that this is actually happening right now. I'm a little mad that it ended up happening the week I was gone away, all of this progress leading up to this moment, but I'm glad that I will actually be visiting the park this week. And hopefully by that point, all of the track work will be finished up, but I am so incredibly excited to see everything completed on this ride in the next coming weeks. Now for the land, I have no idea how much longer that will take. Usually lands take quite a while. But just to see the track being so close to completion is a fantastic sign for eventual testing and then eventual riding. So I'm super excited to see West Coast Racers fully coming into fruition right now, and I definitely cannot wait to get on it. But just before I go, a couple things I gotta say. Huge thanks to John. Check out his Instagram down in the description below, as well as a huge thanks to Mario for the picture from his Instagram, which you can check out as well. But also make sure to check out his YouTube channel, and you should go subscribe. We need him to get to 100 subscribers ASAP. But I gotta say thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to us that you guys tune in so attentively to these updates every week. And just to let you know, there definitely will be another update before this week is over. And make sure to stay tuned for our new predictions video that will be coming out in the next couple days. But again, thank you so much for watching. And make sure to subscribe if you have not, because we're going to have tons of West Coast Racers updates, as well as updates for other things happening in Southern California theme parks. But until next time, we'll see you on the next ride.